Today I'm going to introduce Quartic AI's web-based optimizer that can deliver key performance indicator predictions and optimize setpoint recommendations in a matter of minutes. Companies have been democratizing data and democratizing analytics for years, but optimization is typically still a large project, requiring months of project time, years of data, and large capital expenditure. Quartic is here to change that, to democratize optimization, and make it so anyone can optimize any process by improving metrics such as cycle time, throughput, yield, and energy consumption. So let's jump into a demo where first I need to log in or create a new account with an email address if I don't already have one, and then I can view previous projects I've already started or create a new one. I'll start a new one for my batch-based beer fermentation process that I want to optimize by minimizing my apparent degree of fermentation. I'll upload a data file here, which can be a CSV or Excel file, and if needed, I can pull in multiple files and append them together. Maybe I have files coming from multiple pieces of equipment or multiple systems. Then I'll get a preview of my data. I can see where there's missing data and also outliers that I can choose to filter out. I can also manually apply filters. So for example, I know any runs where my volume is under 1400 hectoliters was not a full-scale run, so I'll filter those out. And I can also add in code-based filtering using a code block. So included in this dataset, I have a couple test runs that I want to remove. So I can open this code block and add a line to only include rows for product A, and I'll click confirm to apply that. And you can see my test runs have been removed. Now this was a fairly simple task that I could have done with the built-in filters, but using code you can apply more complex filtering logic as well. Now that my dataset is ready to go, I'll click next. It will tell me how many valid rows of data are available, and you'll notice here I only have 23. I don't need hundreds or thousands of rows of data to train and run this optimizer. Now I choose which parameters I want to include. So these will be the parameters I want to optimize, in this case my apparent degree of fermentation, parameters I won't directly control but do want to measure like pH, and then my control parameters, volume, yeast mass, and temperature. Then I'll go to the next screen where I can define my objective. This is the KPI I want to optimize, which is minimizing my ADF. Then I can add any constraints, so I want to ensure my pH remains under 7. And then define the upper and lower bounds for each control parameter. So this is the range the optimizer is allowed to adjust between. If I use default, it'll apply the minimum and maximum values contained in the dataset, but I can also manually enter these or adjust them if I want to. Then I will train the model, which gives me an output of how much each control parameter contributes to my apparent degree of fermentation, so my temperature has the biggest impact. From here, there are two things I can do. First, I can generate a prediction, so I can input values for my control parameters, and again, if I click default, this will input the minimum values from the dataset as a starting point, and then I can adjust from there, and receive a prediction for if I use these set points, this is my expected outcome. So essentially I can run what-if scenarios. What if I make this change or that change to my process? How will that impact my outcome? Now at any point, I can also go back to my configuration tab, and maybe I decide I want to add in my pressure and duration as well as control parameters. So I can add these in, the upper and lower bounds, and then retrain my model to include these new parameters, see my new weightings, and then I can always come back and rerun my predictions. The other thing I can do, which is the real point of the optimizer, is to generate setpoint recommendations. So if I go to the recommendation tab, I can simply click generate recommendations, and it will output recommendations for my control parameters. So I can apply these to my process. I can also download a CSV file with these set points that I can store or email to someone else. On the screen right now, the optimizer is recommending all 5 parameters, but I can also manually set some of them if I want. So I can set, say, my volume if I know I need to make 2000 hectoliters in this batch, or I can add in my duration if I have a set fermentation time that I need to use to meet a production schedule, and the recommendations will update accordingly. Now, we aren't showing it on this page, but if I want to predict how good these recommendations will perform, I can then go back to my prediction tab, input these recommended values. So if I copy these over roughly, and my predicted apparent degree of fermentation comes out to be 75.7%. My average from the original dataset was around 81, and since we're trying to minimize this, this is a 5% improvement. So say I run my process with these recommendations or just get new batch runs I want to include, I can go back to my data preview tab, choose to upload more data, and this can be either an entirely new file like this one here with just 2 batch runs, or it can be a file that has new runs appended at the end and it will automatically remove duplicates. So I can go through the same process again. This time I have 25 rows instead of 23. retrain the model, get new recommendations, and continue my iterative optimization process. And that's it. In about 5 minutes, I was able to go through and train my model 3 separate times, view predictive results, and optimize set points. With Quartic's Web Optimizer, optimizing your process, and not just a single KPI, but all of your KPIs, can be fast and easy, delivering continuous value and driving continuous improvement in your process. To get started or to learn more, visit our website or reach out to us here at Quartic AI. Thanks for watching.